guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Georgia and I'm a knit and crochet designer, and today I'm going to show you how to make a basic crochet hat that everyone needs in their wardrobe. This is a 4-in-1 pattern, so I've got 2 hats here, but each hat can be worn in 2 different ways, so that makes 4 hats, and it's the same pattern. The only difference is the crochet hook size. I'm going to leave a little clip on the screen so that you can see the different styles of hat that you can have, but this is the first hat that I made, and this was done with a 4mm crochet hook, and so this one is like a lot more sturdy. It's probably warmer as well. This one's more fitted and kind of like a smart look, whereas this one was done with a 5mm crochet hook. This one is bigger, it's looser, it's more flowy, and kind of it's got more of a drape to it, so you can kind of see, hopefully you can see there just the difference in the hats. So if you want to make this one, then you need to use a 4mm crochet hook. If you want to make this one, you need to use a 5mm crochet hook, or you could do a 4.5 and see what happens. The pattern is the same for everyone, although I will leave some notes to customize it for yourself if you would need to do so. And I would say, as long as you know how to crochet, this pattern is suitable for beginners. You're going to need a DK or size 3 weighted yarn. This is the yarn that I used. You only need 1 ball of yarn, so I used the Wendy Supreme DK. It's just an acrylic yarn, so you've probably got something in your stash that you can use. I'll leave on the screen how much yarn I used for each hat, but obviously if you're going to customize it as well, it may differ slightly. You're also going to need a yarn needle. You may need a measuring tape, and you're going to need some scissors as well. I'll also leave the gauge on the screen that I had for each hat. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back to you. And once you've finished your hat, make sure you tag me on social media. I absolutely love seeing your finished pieces when you've used my patterns and tutorials. I'll leave a link in the description below to the PDF version of the pattern. And as always, if you like the video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to stick around and see more tutorials from me. But without any more babbling, let's get crafting. Okay, so grab your yarn, and again, this is the yarn that I was using, and I just wanted to show the back of the label so you can compare it to the yarn you're using if you want to. I'll be using my 5mm crochet hook, and you'll also need one of these yarn needles as well. So as always, we're going to start off with a slip knot, and then we're going to start off with our beginning chain. Whichever hook size you're using, you're going to chain 65. Okay, so here is what my beginning chain looks like, and now we're going to start with row 1. So we're going to do a half double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. So you yarn over and then insert the hook into the chain, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and then you're just going to do the same thing into the next chain. So you yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and you're just going to continue to do that in every single chain until you get to the end, and at the end you'll have 64 stitches. Here is what my work looks like after completing row 1, and I just wanted to show you what that looks like up close as well. And then we're going to start with row 2, so we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. The beginning chain 2 counts as a stitch, so we're not going to go directly underneath that chain 2, we're going to go into the stitch next to it, because the beginning chain 2 counts as the first stitch. So not this stitch, but this stitch. But then also we're not just going to go into the stitch like we normally would, we're going to go into the back loop only. So you kind of need to twist your work so you can see the back loop of the V that's at the top, and you're just going to, rather than going through like normal like that, you're just going to go only through the back loop with a half double crochet. Just like that. And that's pretty much all there is to it. You're just going to do that across the row, so into the next stitch, remember to yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop only, then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and you're just going to continue to do that all the way along the row. And you want to make sure that you go into the very last stitch of the row as well, so make sure you've got 64 stitches in your row when you finish row 2, and that includes the beginning chain 2, because the beginning chain 2 counts as your first stitch. So just in case you are unsure what the end of the row should look like, I'm just coming to the end of row 2 and I'm going to show you what mine looks like. So You can see quite clearly there I've got another stitch to go. And to the untrained eye, it may seem like we've got to the end of the row, but you actually have one more to go. This is probably partly because when we did our beginning chain, I did my first half double crochet into the second chain from the hook and not the third, but just make sure you've got 64 stitches on row 2, including your beginning chain 2, and you'll be all good. So now we're going to start with row 3, we're going to chain 2 and turn the work. Again, that beginning chain 2 counts as the first stitch, so we're going to go into the stitch next to that, and we're going to go into the back loop only with your half double crochet. And then just like you did before, you're going to do a half double crochet stitch in the back loop only in every single stitch along the row, making sure that you don't accidentally increase or decrease your stitch count along the way. Then you basically just want to keep doing this, so repeating row 3 until your work measures approximately 44 centimeters or 17 inches in length. Make sure your stitch count doesn't change at all, and when you get to that length you don't want to fasten off, and I'll leave some notes on the screen on how to customize it for yourself. So here is what mine looks like now that I've got to 17 inches / 44 centimeters. What you need to do now is fold the work in half so the two shorter edges are now lined up together, and then we're just going to use our crochet hook to do slip stitches to join those two edges together, and it will make the hat into a tube shape. So we'll be joining these two edges together. Now ideally where you've got your hook and your working yarn, you want that side to be closest to you and then the other side to be furthest away from you. The first step is to insert your hook straight into the stitch that is most on the edge. You're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and then just pull that loop straight through the other loop that's on your hook, so just like a slip stitch, and you've now joined those two edges together. Then you just work your way into the next stitch, but I'm actually going into the back loop only just because it gives a more seamless finish. So if you insert your hook into the back loop only of the next stitch, and then on the other side of the fabric find the next stitch to go into and just join with a slip stitch. Go into the next stitch, back loop only, then just straight into the next stitch on the other side and do a slip stitch. So I'll just continue to do a few more so that you can see and get the grasp of it, but you're just going to do this all the way along. If you don't understand this way, or you don't feel comfortable doing it this way, or you prefer to do it a different way, you could cut your yarn, leaving a long yarn tail, and then grab like a yarn needle or a sewing needle and just sew up this edge if you would prefer. So then this is what it will start to look like on this side, and then on the other side this is what it will start to look like, and I'm just turning my light off so that you can see it properly, but it just gives a really seamless finish. So I've now worked all the way across, and this is what it looks like from the wrong side, and it's like kind of like a little ridge there, and you've got a nice tube shape. We're now going to cut the yarn, and you want to leave a decent yarn tail on the end of this and then just fasten it into place. Then you're going to need your yarn needle, and we're just going to thread the yarn onto the yarn needle. So you're going to work your way around the top edge of the hat, going into the ends of the rows. So starting off just about a centimetre away from where your yarn currently is, you're just going to insert the needle and pull through, and then you can see I've already done it like a centimetre or two away, just working your way around. Insert the needle back through in the other direction and pull through, and you're just going to keep doing that all the way around so that when you pull the yarn tail, the hat gathers at the top. So I've worked my way around about a third of the hat, and obviously when I pull it like that, the hat all just gathers together. Just keep doing that all the way around, and then pull the yarn tight when you've got all the way around. So once you worked all the way around, pull that yarn tail nice and tight so that all the top of the hat gathers together. Now there will be a tiny little hole at the top of the hat, so I'm just going to show you how to close that up. So keep your yarn needle and your yarn attached, and then you're just going to literally just pass the needle through the top of the hat a few times so that it goes over the hole. So I'm just going to pull that through, and then I'm going to go again in the other direction and pull that nice and tight. Then once I'd done that a few times, I just like to check what it looks like now. So I'm putting my finger back through the hole and I can still see there's a little gap there. So I'm just using my finger to kind of guide me as to where I need to go next. And I'm just going to keep doing that until the hole is fully closed up. So after I've done that a couple times again, I'll then put my hand back inside the hat, check to see if the hole is still there. It's still a tiny bit there, so the perfectionist in me is going to just go over that again a couple of times. And then this time when I check the hat, I can't see my finger at all. It's all completely closed up. And so all that's left to do is just fasten the yarn in place. And I'll just do that a couple of times just to make sure it's properly secured. And then you just need to weave in that yarn tail, or you could even leave it if you want to, but I weave mine in. Cut that piece of yarn, and then you also need to weave in your other tail that you have from where you started your project. Then I just turned my work the other way around so that the seam looks more seamless, and you can see there, like, it's really hard to see the seam. Then I just like to pull the top of the hat around a little bit so that it's not gathered more on one side than the other, and then you can just fold over your brim, or you don't have to fold over the brim if you don't want to, and that's everything all done. And that's it, guys. Well done, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you got to the end, I'm so proud of you. And you know, if this is like the first thing that you've ever made, you should be so proud of yourself. I remember the first thing I made was a hat just like this, and I was so proud of myself. And the amazing thing is that like 8-9 years on, I'm still making stuff like that, and there's such staples in your wardrobe that you can make them in every colour and you know that you're actually going to wear them. But yeah, thanks again. Don't forget to like the video if you did enjoy it, subscribe to see more tutorials from me, but enjoy the rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye.